on is properly working. And what is going on is my topic actually. What am I doing for the last, what have I been doing for the last 2.5 years? Yeah, thank you. So, two things. My slides are very short, but I will concentrate only on one, which is meeting this symposium. Rainwater harvesting skills, the price, competency, people's interest in it, so on and so forth. It has been said a lot for many years. We were discussing this issue with Dr. Balai, and he told me that more than enough, there are lots of techniques and approaches that people can follow and implement at their financial level. And for example, this is a pond that I arranged with a geotextile and blocks as a framing structure. And this traps about 3,000 liters of water, and it costs me only $40. $40. And the rain is collected only from the surface of the pond. And I built this one to show this family how much water we can harvest if this is possible from the surface of the pond itself. And they get convinced and allow me to do what I'm showing you up to the last of my presentation in their home in Addis Ababa, okay? And that is one thing I want to mention. The second very important thing that I want to focus more is the improvement on gardening pots or plots assembling techniques. The pots, I just omitted it out because we need to focus the farmer. This symposium is more focusing on the farmer's demand, and so I focus more on the plot assembling technique, which is really relevant to this symposium. So the plan is to make the soil system fertile, healthy, and productive at any cost. So any healthy soil has these features, as we all know, and the pot or plot design that I'm thinking of is supposed to have these four core features. First of all, it has to water itself, and it has to drain itself, and it has to aerate itself, and finally it has to make compost by itself. And would that be possible? Let's see together. So in all cases, in all the 5 prototypes I introduced to the science and technology, these 3 are governing principles. First of all, the water chamber at the bottom and the soil bed at the top. Water at the bottom, soil at the top. And then how do they communicate? There is a wicking medium that I'm using, which I will immediately tell you its features and how it's designed. And these 3 things are what I am really aspiring for and work properly. So, what is the wicking medium I've been using for the last 2.5 years? It's a geotextile. Is there anyone who didn't know geotextile? There shouldn't be. Geotextile is a construction material that is used all over the world. Geotextiles have different varieties. Some of them are for drainage purpose only. Some others are for drainage and wicking effect. And so I've chosen the one which is produced in South Africa and which is available in the Ethiopian market. And I've chosen that because it can serve what I'm demanding, the wicking effect, for many years, to the age of the pot or plot we are designing. And so the picture we are looking at here is the effect of the design of that geotextile we are cutting on its level of wicking. By the way, this picture is gonna be, as of my understanding, it's gonna be an amazing finding. This setup is made in my school's lab. By the way, I'm doing all things with the permission of my school and with the sensors the school supplied me. And so this was the biggest and the core step where my finding or my studies made really successful. At this step not be successful, I will just I would just leave it. But this is one of the core things that I found. So two things to see: the shape of the geotextile and actually the thickness of the geotextile. Thickness doesn't matter. If we arrange it this way, it doesn't wick more up. But if we design it in a slanted way, especially at 45 degrees, it perfectly sucks water up. And it works that throughout. And if it is again wind on a certain material, it again wicks up properly. This is all about the nature of wind material and unwind or pressed geotextile. So I'm using the cheaper and the pressed one, and the pressed one can be converted or modified with this technique to the demand of my pots and the plots. By the way, that is arranged from the bottom, and this column, which is inserted into the pot of planting or the soil bed, and then it comes through the water reserve up, and this is filled with the soil. When the soil comes in contact with the geotextile, it just sucks water up, and it works its activity as needed. So now I am on the plot design, by the way, for the farmers. If they wanna produce whatever they want, produce grains at home for the whole year, they can load the water at the bottom, because this structure, which is buried under the plot, is PVC, perforated PVC, and the geotextile is one all around. And then on the top, I've added sand. The water level is controlled by these structures around. And then we add our fertile soil on top and produce the whole year without any challenge. By the way, this can reserve 1,000 liters at the bottom, and then we can add soil on the top, and that's it. And this is how I was constructing the plot design, and this is the outcome of the activity. By the way, this is a carrot and tomato plot, which is having composting bins in the middle, and it has 1,000 liters of water at the bottom. By the way, we didn't recharge this until we finally take the tomato and the potato from the plot. And now we have got kale and Abyssinian cabbage on it, and it is really amazing in productivity. By the way, I have evaluated the moisture level, the temperature level, soil oxygen level, everything. That is huge data, and I've reduced actually my slides by 1/5, meaning I'm presenting 1 out of 5 of what I've been supposed to present. Anyway, because of time constraint, we're having this outcome. That's what I want to mention. The other important thing that I want to expose is that same design can be used to produce seedlings. Okay? But what is unique in here is the seedling grooves that are arranged on this plot. What is unique in them? During seedling production, especially in forestry world, the biggest challenge is adding soil, fertile soil, into those plastic or polyethylene bags. But a single farmer can set up 2 or 3 of this structure within a day, and if it is 1 meter by 10 meter, it can accommodate up to 4,000 seedlings, and then this can be really a very good tool of poverty reduction. And we water it from the PVC line here, and then the water goes down, any excess water comes away, and only the needed amount of water is wicking up because of the geotextile. We have wound on it, and then the geotextile mat we arranged under the soil. And so once we have the groove like that, by the way, the groove making design has got a manual of itself, and then it's so simple. It's made from the geomembrane itself. Okay, and so water at the bottom, soil on the top. We can produce so many things as we want, and that's what I've seen. Want to produce almost everything if canopy size is not a matter. For example, in here, this is a setup for seedling production in my school. I've connected it with the Verrier technology sensor. This is a temperature sensor, and the one in the middle is moisture sensor. I'm following up what is going on, being in Kenya, because thanks to technology, everything is possible. I'm following what is going on in here now. The data I can collect now. Because the sensor is already modulated to the sense that it works to the edge of the seedlings. By the way, this is the bigger size tomato, and half of it is the pepper. And I'm not doing anything except adding water when the moisture level is lower. And so could farmers do that? Yes, they can do. Yeah, with a possible extension. So I want to thank especially Dr. Balai and my school. My school is ICS, International Community School of Addis Ababa, where about 70 different nations diploma students are learning. And my school allowed me to do this thing for the CAS program. And I'm so glad that it will be getting its proper power and marketability. Thank you so much.
And now, before we finish the roundtable, we would like to give the floor to one representative of the small island development states in Mauritius, Fiji, and so on, who will explain us a little bit what is the water scarcity problem in the islands and how this symposium and the water harvesting can be beneficial and linked to them.
Okay, thank you very much. I will try to be very short because I've been requested to be very short because I've been forced into this morning session, right? So I'm from Mauritius, but working with these small island developing states, right? There's a network of small island developing states, and so we are small islands, but as I said yesterday, we have got big problems, right? And we are at the mercy of nature. We are at the mercy of climate, and you must have heard, you must have read that with climate change, with seawater level rising, some islands might disappear, right? So we have to give some special attention to this. So what I'm saying is rainwater smart management is a process, right? It's not just something. It is a process. Harvesting, it includes harvesting of rainwater, right? And then the storing, second part. And then yesterday somebody mentioned that we are not talking about judicious use. So it has, this component also is very important, judicious use. Now, rainwater harvesting is the accumulation and deposition of rainwater for what purposes? Number one, for reuse on site rather than allowing it to run off. And then it can be collected from where? Rivers, roofs, and from running water. Because very often we forget this aspect of collection from running water. Running off water, because this is very important. Mostly in small islands, where you get precipitation, you get water, a lot of rain coming just at one time, one go, and then all the water disappears, either in the ocean, because we are small, or it goes into rivers and then disappears. Now the collection system can be natural or man-made. Now, I will show you just now what are these things, what are these collection systems. Its uses include water for gardening. All these things have already been highlighted, for livestock, for domestic use, and as drinking water with proper treatment. Right? At least today we can say that we are having proper treatment before drinking water. But there were days when there was no treatment at all, and people were drinking it. Up to now, people are drinking water just collected from ponds, right? From muddy water, muddy rainwater. Now, these are I've got three pictures just to show how in the small islands, like elsewhere, you have got a rainwater catchment system. right? It's normal, you all know it. You have got gutters all around and collected from the roof, and then it goes into special tanks, right? In Mauritius, for example, we do not get that much of a big problem. We do not have this much of a big problem of rainwater collection, right? But in a small dependency of ours, which we call Rodrigues, there it's normal that you get similar things like this. All the houses that come, they come up with a storage tank. And there has been no law. Nobody has forced the people to do it. But the people do it because they need water. And this is another system, and this is the runoff, right? Where you can divert the water, where you get what we call, in the islands, we call it reservoirs or ponds, right? But very often in the small islands language, we call it reservoirs. But it's only rainwater. Huh? Now, since I had to talk on two things, one is rainwater, the other one is food security, both interdependent, right? Now I'll take some time to speak about the food security in small islands, as I told you. Before we talk on food security, we have to understand what it means, right? Let us see what the FAO, the UN institution FAO, agreed upon at the World Food Summit in 1998 at the FAO headquarters in Rome. Now, they have come up with this, that food security exists, not at one particular time, but it exists when all people, not some, but all people, and at all times, not, for example, during the festive seasons, no, but at all times, they have what? Physical and economic access to, number one, sufficient, second, safe, and third, nutritious food for a healthy life. This is what we call food security challenges. All three together, if you have all three, then you can say that you are free, you are secure. Now, the problem in small islands, I told you, we are small. Very, very small. Yesterday, I laughed when I heard my friend presenting, not Burundi, Rwanda, saying it's a very small country, right? But you are more than 10 times the size of small islands, right? So you are not small to us. So the small size is a problem. Sometimes people say, well, you know, you are small, your problems are small, and you solve it very quickly. It's true. But the small problems are so much acute, right, that you get small rivers, small reservoirs, and they dry up very quickly. So the problems are big. And since we are small, we have already one climate. It's not like, for example, you take the case of Kenya, where you get in the high plateau, you get vegetables or trees or fruit trees from one variety. You go to Mombasa, you get a different variety. So in small islands, it's just one climate, right? So it's only monoculture, only one food is grown. So these contribute to low agricultural potential, in many cases, minus 10% of arable land and water shortages. Some of the islands, people take them to be very flat. It's true. You get, for example, some of the threatened islands because of sea level rise, they are flat. But some of the other islands, they have got mountains. And no much land, arable land. So managing these become a problem. Now, most recent data of FAO indicates that many of the SEEDS countries, SEEDS are small island developing states, have quite solved the problem of undernourishment. Undernourishment, not solved the problem of food security, but undernourishment of less than 5%. But 2 of the seeds, right, have an undernourishment rate of more than 20%. And both of these seeds, one of them is found in the African continent, right, and this is Guinea-Bissau, which has got 20.7%, and Haiti worse, 54.5%. So some seeds are doing well in food security. Some of these seeds are mostly the Pacific seeds, because they grow what they eat, or they eat what they grow. Right? They are quite self-sufficient in food production. The Caribbean region and the Indian Ocean region, they are highly dependent on imported staple food. We do import a lot of food. Now the Caribbean region, because of the problem of imported food, they are coming up with drastic measures to cut on importation. And what are the challenges for the small islands? Awareness raising. We have got the solutions, but unfortunately we do not have the means, right? Awareness raising to the most needy people. And then the basic knowledge and demonstration. It's not, you cannot solve the problem at universities, you cannot solve the problem at meetings, but you have to go and demonstrate to the people. So what are our needs? What are the needs of the small islands? We need training, we need outreach programs. As I said, no school, no community meeting, but you go to the community. Practical demonstrations with appropriate technology, not imported, and then small funding, which we call seed funding. Now, as a conclusion note, what are the major emerging threats is what the world is going through. The major emerging threats to seeds are climate change and sea level rise. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I ask you to join the panelists? Let's clap for our presenters. Very interesting presentations made. But one thing that came to my mind is most of these presenters were giving us, delivering their presentations, is the cost. Farm ponds, yes, beautiful diagrams, beautiful structures. How much does this cost? Set dams, good structures, effective. How much does it cost? And also, Helena, you also presented your innovative plots. But also what came to my mind was, for instance, the wicking material. How much do I need for a certain item? How much will it cost? I want to open this session for questions. I know that people were jotting down questions. You are free to ask. Yes, sir.
I'm from Pakistan. First of all, thank you very much to all these speakers for the nice presentations. I have two small queries about these technologies. First query is from Mr. Nyambo from Sharaf. When you talked about, sir, about the business model used as a driver for promoting the various water harvesting initiatives. My question is that, do you use this marketing business model for the ultimate products of these technologies, like for example the vegetables or other agricultural crops, or do you use it for the technologies itself? And also, as compared to the household level, a much stronger driving force is needed when you work at the watershed level. Especially in that case, we find very few people who come forward from the private sector and take interest in taking forward this different technologies and different products. So my question is also there that, I mean, have you also tried this market force as a driver for watershed level activities also? And I have also one question that is common to Mr. Manyaye, Ms. Manyaye from Zimbabwe, and also to the presentation by the presenter from UK. I mean, about the household gardening parts. The question is that, I mean, can you a little bit elaborate on the cost of these technologies and the life of these technologies, the sand dams, and the household gardening parts? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentations. I have also a question for Mareso. I think, would you please explain in detail how is this financial part of the African Alliance, how it actually operationalize, like specifically microfinance and so on. So how are you planning to allow farmers to be able to fund for the whole system? It's my question to Mareso. And also, my question to Zimbabwe, to the representative of Zimbabwe, is that you have been talking about standards, but what is exactly the link with the small scale irrigation and other income generating activities? And what are the minimum costs for a sand dam to actually be able to be linked to small scale irrigation?
I think I will give the presenters the mic so that they respond to the number of questions that we have raised. Then we come back again to get the questions. I'll start with the Malaysia.
Thank you very much. The question on cost, I think is a very good question. In developing the different options on wet harvesting, one of the challenges that we face is, where do you get the cost-effective source of the different components